You still think of yourself Chinese, or do you ever think of yourself as North American?
You know what I want to think of myself? As a human being. Because, I mean, I don't want to sound like, as Confucius say, but under the sky, under the heaven, man, there is but one family. It just so happened, man, that people are different.
All right. So, what up? What up? It's your boy Brock Broderick coming to you live over here in the spot over the other. With me, as always, is William H. Ray and Babs Bunny.
What up?
So, what up, guys? How's it? How's your week been?
Well,
Been
I
alright.
yeah, I stopped smoking weed during the week, so it was long as fuck.
Mm.
Anytime you make fucking like big time changes in your routine, it just seems like it's those times that you seem to have the worst shit happen to you around it. You know what I'm saying?
Thankfully, nothing bad happened. But yeah, I feel what you're saying. Where it's like you want to run to that shit that you're supposed to be sacrificing.
Yeah.
And I cheated once. I cheated once this week. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie.
You ain't gonna lie.
I can't lie because it was with you yesterday. And smoking. But see, I will tell you this: stopping and to not smoke weed is easy because I'm not addicted to weed.
Mm-hmm.
What was the hardest thing all week to not do was smoke fucking tobacco, dog.
Yeah.
That shit was fucking hard. That shit was hard. Where we cheated with that shit, I still smoked the black. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't smoke no cigarettes.
And Babsy, out of the three of us, you've pretty much stopped smoking tobacco the longest.
Mm-hmm.
What was your, you know what I'm saying? Like, did you have a game plan, or did you just quit cold turkey and just went with it?
Yeah, for me it was more like what happened to you. I had gotten real sick and I was sick for like two weeks, 2.5 weeks, and I hadn't smoked. And then after that I was like, man, I don't want to smoke no cigarettes no more. And I just went cold turkey.
True.
Yeah, and this, you know what I'm saying? Like she said, it's basically how I quit smoking was that I got real sick and I went X amount of days without smoking. So I just said to myself, well, you've gone this long without it, you might as well keep going. And luckily, I've been able to maintain it to whereas I'm like 7 or 8 months in without smoking.
Word.
That's what's up.
Everybody here seems to be, going like this all the time.
Well, that's good. I'm
They're all in good
very
shape.
glad. I'm very glad to see that because at least somebody is caring for their own body, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good sign. Well, it's a kind of a slow form of exercise, which is called Tai Chi Chuan. I'm speaking Mandarin just now.
Yeah.
Cantonese Tai Chi Chuan, okay?
I see.
And it's more of an exercise for the elderly, not so much for the
Give me
young.
a demonstration. Show me. Can you do a little bit of it? Just so
I mean,
that,
hand-wise, it's very slow.
oh, is it?
And you push it out, but all the time you are keeping the continuity going. Bending, stretching, everything. You just keep it moving.
It's like a ballet dancer there.
Yeah, it is. I mean, to them, you see, the idea is running water never grows stale. So you got to just keep on flowing.
You're right, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But
So we're going to be on the second pack. Taking a quick station identification break for the train. Babsy. Me and Babsy was talking about. Have you seen on Netflix a documentary about someone called Walter Mercado?
Absolutely.
I ran across it but did not watch it.
Do
My
you know? Do you know who Walter Mercado is?
Do you know who Walter Mercado
Hold on, before I lie to y'all, let me see.
is?
No, I don't. But tell me while I look at this shit.
So Walter Mercado he was known as an astrologist, a
Oh,
spiritual astrologist, but he was a Puerto Rican astrologist. And we know him growing up because he was always on TV. After the news would come on, and they gave him a section, 15 minutes, and he would read your horoscope. And his readings were always uplifting, things to make you feel better, do better, be better. And he would always end it telling you that that he wishes you peace and love, and
Mucho, mucho.
yeah, he wishes you peace and out of everything a lots and lots of love, and that's how he would end it. And he was very flamboyant, wearing capes and all that, but nobody ever
I,
ever addressed the fact that he was gay. They just knew him as Walter Mercado. He was the astrologist. He read your life.
yo, I'm gonna watch that shit because looking at him right here, right, looking at him right here, it says it's the dazzling and tenderhearted, legendary
Yeah,
astrologer.
he was
Walter
fantastic, and what was awesome about him is he studied many different cultures, not just one. He wasn't specific to any one culture, to any one religion. And what he said was, when they were talking to him, was that he believes there was a convergence of the religions, that they met at an intersection, which made them very similar at the foundation, which I strongly believe. And it all gets interpreted different, just like the Bible. It gets interpreted different by people. So that's where different religions form. But at the end of the day, they all meet at one intersection.
yeah. Now, William H was reading up the fucking the little blurb that tells you about it on Netflix, and it says that he vanishes now. He didn't literally vanish. What it was is that he had a manager who fucking basically
him
stole.
over.
Yeah, like
Hmm. But it's usually always like that. Anybody that's, uh, if you've ever noticed throughout the decades or throughout time, whenever there's someone true to their art, they always get fucked over by somebody because they're so focused on the art, they're not looking at the business part of it.
And
yeah,
and they trust them. They're trusting the
Yeah, and
people.
they just trust that person. And he wholeheartedly trusted that man, that he signed off everything, even his name. He signed off his name to that guy.
name and likeness. So he couldn't even sell a T-shirt with his face on it, his own face, because the other nigga owned it. So he had to, like, out of nowhere, he just stopped being on TV, like, you know what I'm saying, for years.
Vanished at the peak of his
Yeah.
fame. That's what it
Yeah, so there
says.
was a lot of rumors going around, different rumors of what happened to Walter Mercado, but at the end of the day, it was all business related because he was basically bamboozled out of his legacy that he built. And what's crazy is that he started off as an actor, and he was always into astrology and cards and reading people's palms. So he would do that as a side thing, just to be interested in somebody that was I don't remember if he was
Yeah,
a head honcho.
before you continue with that part of it, his very first experience as a kid was that he found like a dead bird, and like legend says that he fucking willed it back to life,
Yes.
and this dead
So
he would
yeah,
have
his
to,
neighbors witnessed it and said that he was touched by God.
yeah,
So neighbors all around would come, and they would come to his house to ask to be healed.
yeah,
So that was him starting as a kid, and then eventually his family said he was always very into art and dancing and singing and acting, and then he led into acting. But in the meanwhile, he was still doing the reading of the palm, reading tarot cards, stuff like that. But that was just like a pastime for him, and it was a head honcho for Univision that he became friends with told him, "Hey, we have a spot that we need to be filled on the news. I want you to read the astrology because that's what you do on the side. You're always asking people to read their palm or read their tarot cards. Why don't you do it just for 15 minutes? And if it's not good, then it's nothing." But it was such a hit that everybody they demanded him to be back, and he just said, "No problem, I'll keep coming back with my capes." And from there on, he just got more and more extravagant with it.
He was doing that shit. He did that shit for 25 years, bro.
Yeah. We were kids, our grandmothers, both my grandmothers used to watch it. And if we were in their house at 5 o'clock when the news came on, we had to shut up because the astrology was coming on. Walter Mercado was coming up, blessing. He was about to give us our life.
Y'all shut y'all ass up now.
Yeah.
Like, fucking and throughout Latin America, you know what I'm saying? Like that shit was common. That when he was on TV, niggas had to shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Because they was listening to what he had to say.
Hmm. But not only did he break barriers with that, but then they were also talking about the fact that he was so obviously gay because he was so flamboyant that also opened up the culture to start accepting gay people.
Right.
But what's crazy is that he never actually openly said that he was gay.
Yep.
Right.
Even to his dying day, when they were interviewing him, the people behind the camera asked him, they were like, "Do you have a partner? Who has your partner been?" And he says, I haven't been with anybody. So they tell him, and he was like 70 something at that point. They asked him, "So you mean to tell me to this day you're a virgin?" And he goes, "Yeah, they know me as a street as being a virgin."
He's so still personable. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause he speaks.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so throughout the documentary, this is before he passed on. You know what I'm saying? Like he's, giving like the documentary maker is interviewing him and shit. You know what I mean? And he would give these great answers to shit. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
lively and full of fucking. Even at that late age, you could tell that he was fucking
On his way out.
deteriorating. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
still full of life and saying things like just funny ass shit. You know what I mean? Or great answers. Like it was. I cried a little bit watching it only because, like she said, like it literally reminded me of our grandmothers and shit. You know what I mean? And it's
man.
Yeah.
You need to get shit together. No,
But not only that too, but that's another person that can see behind the veil and see those things that they're so enlightened.
And you can still pull from that.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Because I'm gonna watch that shit. I just added it to my list. But for y'all, that's why y'all felt those feelings, so you can start to think about some of that shit and start to incorporate some of that shit to help your quality of life. I'm straight.
Yeah.
But
It was definitely.
he was definitely a great influence on a lot of people, and he said a lot of great positive things all the time. It was always about love and positivity with him.
Yeah, it was cool too because fucking I don't know if you know who Lin-Manuel Miranda is.
Nigga,
Hamilton, yeah. So he
don't you
fucking.
ever try me
Which talking about which, did you watch that shit now that it's on Disney Plus?
Hamilton? Nah, I haven't yet. They had like
what? That was
Hamilton.
fantastic. Mind blown from that shit. It was so good.
Yeah, everybody tells me it's great.
The one that plays the king on there, what is it, King John? Oh my god, that guy, he deserves an award for that performance.
All the motherfuckers.
Yeah, all of them were fantastic, but this guy, he's saying hateful shit, and you still want to love him. But he was just that good. But yeah, that was a fantastic show.
Moana too.
Huh?
That Lin-Manuel Miranda did the songs for Moana.
Yeah, he's a talented little fuck. But yeah, he came out on the Walter Mercado episode, documentary, because he was talking about that he reached out to Walter Mercado because that was another person that he grew up on TV watching, and he was just a big fan. So he took his dad with him to meet him.
That's what's up. That's dope.
And they opened up a museum for him in Miami, which if I ever go to Miami anytime soon, I definitely would like to hit up that museum to see that.
Shit that you know what I'm saying, that I wasn't clear on because they definitely had an exhibit at a museum, but I didn't understand. That's what I was interested in going to, but I was like, man, I didn't get whether it was like an exhibit that was there for a certain amount of time at the museum, or was it actual like something that's going to be there forever? You know what I mean?
No, yeah, it's supposed to be because it's supposed to be a Spanish museum, so it's supposed to be a lot of other Spanish related shit. But yeah, no, that's supposed to be a permanent fixture there.
That's what's up.
Yeah. But to see that too, when he went to go to that exhibit, to see young and old people that still admire him and revere him, which was awesome.
That shit is dope, dog. To see people like live that type of life.
Hmm.
Their life is helping people make their lives better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reminding you like it's I know I
And
know
was
that
they,
it's
you know,
bad,
was the
but
type
it's
of person that was themselves
yeah.
to the death of them. You know what I'm
No
saying?
matter
Like,
where who they
yeah,
were around, yeah, true to themselves
Yep.
too.
Never changed ever.
And even when those people fucked him over, he like snapped,
Hmm.
just let that shit happen and shit, and
yeah,
just
and
let
then
it.
fucking. Eventually, he got his. They went to court and got his shit back and everything like that. But like, he never. At no point does he fucking talk about this dude in a negative way, kid. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like, he couldn't stop saying how much he loved that dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
See who he was.
Hmm.
He did.
Okay, I see what y'all talking about. You know what I'm saying? It sounds pretty interesting.
El amor es la razón de todo. El amor es el alfa y el omega. El amor es la razón de vivir. Y que reciban de mí siempre paz, mucha paz, pero sobre todo mucho, mucho, mucho ¿qué? Amor.
So switching from one to another iconic figure, you know what I mean? So recently I watched ESPN's 30 for 30 on Bruce Lee. It's called Be Like Water. It's a fucking amazing documentary. It really dabbles into his philosophy as well as his like almost like his own civil rights things for fucking Asians. You know what I'm saying? Um, and in our family, Bruce Lee, you know what I'm saying, was almost as famous as Walter Mercado. You know what I'm saying? Like they were definitely on a similar level as far as what I'm saying, influence on us. Would you say that that's correct, Dazzy?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
What's the name of the Bruce Lee joint? The
Be like water. Be like water.
Yeah, that was his favorite saying, was to be like water.
Yeah.
Right, and this. So I sent you guys an interview. I don't know, Bazzy, if you got to see it. It was one of the very last interviews that he did before he passed. And bro, like for one, he's so charismatic and so personable. You're drawn to him. You know what I mean? There's certain people in this world that have, especially what I'm saying, through the art of speech and talking and things like that. You're just drawn to the shit that they say. You know what I'm saying? Niggas like Malcolm X, fucking Martin Luther King. KRS-One is definitely one dude like in this era that I feel like I get drawn in by shit that he says. Tupac was one of them. John F. Kennedy.
It's definitely while he was coming up, because you mentioned the civil rights stuff. People don't really think about that. The shit that he had to do to come from China and shit and come here and then have to China and
deal with all the racism that he dealt with when he came to America.
Bro, and to come here as a kid, because he was still pretty relatively young when he came down here, put himself through college, get a college degree, and do business, open businesses, and everything that he did as a fucking Asian. and maybe the first Asian to really fucking do that type of fucking trailblazing. He's that alone makes him fucking somebody to talk about. And then you have his influence on martial arts in a whole. You know, is
and the things that I've heard said about him and read about him, that motherfucker was mentally and emotionally strong. That's part of why he was so physically strong.
yes.
Yeah, he's another one that was enlightened and can see behind the veil, because there was, things that he said alone in that interview that you mentioned. I didn't get to see it again, but I remember back in the day when I did watch bits and pieces of it. He says some shit that like, damn, you never think of things like that, like be like water.
Yeah, and the famous, you know what I'm saying, things that he said, and I'll put it, so you guys can hear it in between the shit, like while I'm reading it to them.
Empty your mind. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend. Like that, you see?
Water, and
Be like water, Mike.
The way that he said it was so like captivating. And then if you look at his face afterwards, when this nigga, the host responds to it, this nigga's biting his lip, like like he knows he just said some shit. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like that shit.
It is.
I can fuck your lady right now.
You know you like that cracker. That's what they say, cracker, fucking cracker.
That's the way I felt the day I was listening to that shit, and I was like, "This cracker trying Bruce on so many
Yeah,
levels."
he was trying him a lot, but Bruce kept his composure and stuck it to him many times.
And so, like all that shit, he was trying to like trip him up. When he schooled, first off, when he started schooling about Mandarin and
Cantonese.
Yeah, and Cantonese.
Yeah.
But you ain't gonna try and out. Look here, white man. First of all, you don't know neither one of these languages. Let me tell you what it is before we even get started. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna try me like I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I know I got an accent. That's basically what you're trying to say. But just like Badger said, he kept his composure every time that practice.
But he was ultra cool, responding to everything that you said. Like, and it's weird when you hear niggas say shit like fucking Oriental.
Yeah,
it's weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, really, nigga gonna say Oriental?
But it's also the late '60s.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? That they didn't have any on.
When Willie told me that he felt, you know what I'm saying, a certain way about the interview, I was like, well, yeah, I mean, there's times that he's real crackerish, but at the same time, there's parts where he gets it, you know what I'm saying? And you could tell that he gets it because of the way that he explained, like, the part where he talks about unnatural naturalness or natural unnaturalness, you know what I'm saying? Which is, you know what I'm saying? Like, it took me a few times to hear the interview to really understand what he was saying.
I listened to it twice in a row. I ain't gonna lie to you because I was riding to get some trees.
And he was talking about the fucking mixing your natural instincts and your control, and the perfect blend of that is what you're trying to achieve. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it might sound too philosophical, but it's acting, or acting, unacting.
You've lost me.
I have, right? So what I'm saying, actually, you see, I mean, it's a combination of both. I mean, here it is the natural instinct, and here is control. You are to combine the two in harmony. Not, if you have one to the extreme, you will be very unscientific. If you have another to the extreme, you become all of a sudden a mechanical man, no longer a human being. So it is a successful combination of both. So therefore, it is not only, therefore it's not pure naturalness or unnaturalness. The ideal is unnatural naturalness or natural unnaturalness.
Yin yang, eh?
Right, man, that's it.
Against where he was asking, and that's
right,
why
and that was why the answer was it was double poignant, because it was not only fucking like saying something, but it was like in your face, nigga. Now I'm gonna fucking take your fucking racist ass.
Basically, yeah, and that's why he was biting his lip.
Yeah.
Because biting his lip was basically him biting his tongue. Like, I'm telling you this because I can't say fuck your puss ass, cracker. But look, listen, you can't do none of this. You don't even understand water in cups, my friend. Let me tell you something about it can crash, nigga. You want me to crash? or I can do either one. Because I am the water. You don't even get it.
Yeah.
You talk superstars and
so
shit.
his response was, I want to be known as a human being. You know
That was the gem of the thing. That embodied him. That's Bruce Lee. But that's what we need right now. That's what we need right now.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Which is why I was so like inspired. Like I said, the documentary, "Be Like Water," it goes deeper into it. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of his friends and family talking about aspects of it. There is a Chinese proverb that says, under the sky there's only one family, and that's the human family. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, racism is dumb. And you're dumb if you're a racist.
My body's ready, my heart's on fire. I'm gonna push you over the wire. Perfect timing, tight as a drum. You find the battles already won. I'm taking hold of every moment, given strength by the breath of life. I'm gonna stake my claim. I'll fight to survive.
All right, so what up? This is your boy Brock Barlick coming to you live from the spot over there in the cut. With me live via satellite from the cut over there in the spot.
Over here.
Murder Barbosa.
What up?
Jay Business is not with us today. We actually don't know why, so we will not speculate. But so we got some Kumite to do, and so this episode, Murder, is very Bruce centric. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
We're gonna delve into the man, the myth, the legend, Bruce Lee, right?
Round one, fight.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, I give you Bruce Lee versus Chuck Norris.
Oh man. Shit, both equally have a legend that still exists.
It's what's weird about it too is that what I'm saying, like, I mean, universally this nigga Bruce has been like touted as the GOAT. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Now, in recent years, what I'm saying, I'd say with the last 10, 15, maybe even 20 years, there's been this mythos of fucking Chuck that's been, what I'm saying, going through the internet. The internet's a motherfucker.
Yeah.
So where we get these, what I'm saying, like shit like the boogeyman has a pair of fucking looks into the bed for Chuck Norris, you know what I'm saying, before he goes to bed, and this nigga Superman has a pair of Chuck Norris pajamas, and you know what I mean, like all types of crazy Chuck Norris facts.
Yeah. There's a lot of them too.
Oh, there's like tons of them, kid, and some of them are hysterical, kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Chuck Norris doesn't mow his lawn; he just stares at the grass and dares it to grow. You know what I mean?
Word. Chuck, shout out to Chuck. Man, he's still alive. I mean, so he's a living legend right now.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what I'm saying? And he seems like the type of nigga that doesn't get too caught up in his own legend.
Yeah. He's humble.
You know what I mean? He Like he did the fucking. I thought it was cool that he turned out in the fucking. What was that shit that the fucking Bruce? I always forget this shit, man. The Expendables.
Yeah. So
Yeah. And he's done. You know what I mean? Like my favorite Chuck Norris movie. What's silly about it is his sidekicks.
his cheesy shit.
Yeah, it's cheesy. And you know what I'm saying? He's not even the main. Like he's the main nigga, but at the same time, he's not. But it's still dope. You know what I'm saying?
You know that kid killed himself, right?
No way.
He hung himself, something like that.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's grim.
it's crazy. That's
He was from the. He did the Never Ending Story too, didn't he?
yeah. He did Ladybugs with Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah, man, he was popping for a hot second, and then damn, man, I didn't know he killed himself though. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Crazy, man. But shit, who do you think in hand-to-hand combat would win?
I mean, I gotta go, Bruce.
Yeah.
When we're talking about hand-to-hand combat, like you know what I'm saying, like this nigga Chuck is very gallant when it comes to discussing this. You know what I'm saying? Because he's discussed it before. Remember that these dudes were friends. You know what I'm saying? Is the truth of the matter. You know, as rivals go, these niggas was very friendly from the very beginning. You know what I'm saying? And Bruce Lee definitely saw something in Chuck Norris that made him put him in the movie to begin with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So definitely he got the green light from Bruce, which makes him, you know, a special nigga at that.
Right.
And they've talked about, you know, he's talked about sparring sessions and shit like that they've had and things of this nature. And I've heard him. I've heard that he has said. I don't know that he actually said it or not, but I had heard that he had said. You know, the thing about Bruce is that, you know what I mean, I fought competitively for years, whereas Bruce actually didn't. You know what I'm saying? So to Chuck, that made him, you know what I'm saying, to him, the better fighter. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if that is valid, you know what I'm saying, a point or not, but it's definitely a point.
It's definitely a point, you know, and Bruce never really got his skills really tested like that.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Look, I mean, you know what I mean? All right, so with that, I gotta say that for one, there's a lot of stories about niggas fucking like literally coming up to this nigga in the street and challenging him to fight,
Uh-huh.
and him having to whoop ass. You know what I'm saying? The story about the nigga coming onto the set that they did in Dragon the Bruce Lee story.
Yeah, the guy with the long hair.
Well, no, the guy with the long hair is the guy that it was
His nephew, his uncle, or something like that.
His was the guy's brother. You know what I'm saying? And then like months later, after he whooped the fucking dude's ass, he the brother came to the set and fucking challenged him to a fight, and they had a great fight. Now, I've heard that the story is true that somebody came onto set and fucking they fought, and the cameraman did like capture it,
Uh-huh.
and he did really like rip up the film, but it wasn't the dude's brother or anything like that. Like that was for the movie that they made that connection. You know what I mean? It was just some dude that had challenged him to a fight.
All right.
And then the story about the guy from Shaolin that came down and they fought like this underground fight and shit like that. That's also, you know what I'm saying, a confirmed story. Which they made the other movie about, you know what I'm saying, the other Bruce Lee movie that what was that, the
one that just came out like a couple years ago?
Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
all I know is that WWE made it. You know what I'm saying, which is funny. But yeah, and it was a good movie. I liked it. But you know what I mean? Like lately, for some reason, Hollywood has been depicting this nigga as like kind of dicky. You know what I'm saying? Which from what I understand, you know what I'm saying, like he had a cockiness to him a little bit, but from what most of the people tell you is that he was a very humble dude and very likable.
Yeah, and that movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, they
Yeah,
kind of
man.
clown him a little bit on that. A lot of it, really.
Fuck that movie, man.
Yeah.
Trying Bruce like that, bro.
Can't do that, man. The boy Brad Pitt put the beats on that, man.
Yeah, bro. You know what I'm saying? There's no chance in hell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's take a shot to the Bruce. Oh fuck, man. Oh,
Shout out to Bruce.
Now I know where I got this little gash on my finger. Salute.
Cheers, my nigga.
Like the mythology on Bruce Lee, who you knew very well, and actually your first movie.
I did my first film with him in
What was he
1972.
like?
Well, Bruce, when I fought for the world title here in New York at Madison Square Garden in 1968, Bruce was doing a TV series called The Green Hornet, and so he was a guest. And after I had won the title, the promoter introduced me to Bruce, and so Bruce and I started talking, and we really got involved in our conversation. He says, "Well, let's work out when we get back to LA." And I said, "Okay." So we went back, and we worked out together for a couple of years.
Now, what does that mean? Let's work out. You go
Just
like
get-
you
just worked
lift
out.
barbells together.
No, punching bags and and kicking the bag and all this kind of stuff here.
But not fighting each other.
No, I was a professional fighter.
And he was not. He was
But he was good. He was good.
so you could have beaten him.
Well, I don't even know. I didn't want to go there. I didn't go, and Bruce didn't want to.
You're being modest.
Bruce didn't want to go there, and I didn't want to go there.
Shit.
So, who's got the better movies?
Who got the better movies? Who had the? I mean, shit. Chuck got the longer careers, obviously.
Yeah.
And he's had. Does he have any blockbusters?
I can't think of one. You know what I'm saying? Like he's got the cult classics. You know what I'm saying? People that follow Chuck. The biggest thing that he ever did was Walker Texas Ranger that I could think of.
Yeah, his TV series, right?
Yeah.
And besides, besides that, it's just he was like on a Charles Bronson level, right?
I would say so.
Yeah. That was like his height right there. He did Brad.
Charles Bronson, Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, Clint Eastwood.
That kind of fucking level shit. Because like he did a lot of shit that didn't have anything to do with martial arts. You know what I'm saying? And maybe that was smart of him to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? Because he did Western type shit. He did
military
shit. Yeah.
He did cop shit.
Yeah. So.
I mean, he definitely got the advantage because he's still alive and he's still currently working. Bruce, I feel, didn't get a chance to really make it in America's Hollywood.
Yeah. Now, that being said, I think the goodness of Bruce's small catalog still trumps the amount of movies that this nigga made. You know what I'm saying? Because not every single one of these movies was really great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if it was really a question of who had the better movies, I would still have to go Bruce.
I'll go Bruce. Definitely.
All right.
I think there's like not much you could
Yeah, there's not much more you can compare these niggas on, you know what I'm saying?
They're like equally to me, they're both legends in the game, I mean, no matter what.
Absolutely, you know what I mean? And if Bruce is number one, Chuck just might have to be number two.
In who's your number three?
Jet Li.
Jet Li. All right. Jackie after?
Jackie right after. And you know what I'm saying? Now, if we're talking about movies, then those rankings would be adjusted.
Yeah, yeah.
But if we're talking about fighting, you know what I'm saying? Just overall badassery.
Overall badassery. All right.
I would say,
that would be it.
yeah.
I agree on that, my nigga.
Word up.
Van Damme would probably be on there somewhere.
Yeah, he'd be low on the list of badassery. He'd be higher on the list of movies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But on the badassery, you know what I mean? I don't.
Nah.
The muscles from Brussels. You know what I mean? Doesn't, you know what I mean?
Kick me. Kick me. What was that? An exhibition? We need emotional content. Try again. I said emotional content, not anger. Now try again. With me. That's it. How did it feel to you? Let me think. Don't think. Feel. It is like a finger pointing away to the moon. Don't concentrate on the finger or you will miss all that heavenly glory. Do you understand?
All right, so Bruce gets that one.
Bruce definitely gets that one. All
right,
day.
do you have a Bruce-centric Kumite?
A Bruce-centric?
Yeah.
Explain that.
So, revolving around Bruce.
Like martial arts in general, or just
No,
Bruce?
just Bruce.
Nah.
All right. So
I don't even know what you mean.
all right, so like if this will be another one for us. All right, which was a better movie, Enter the Dragon or Return of the Dragon?
Okay. I say Enter the Dragon for sure.
I think Enter the Dragon just off of scope and fucking quality is probably a better flick.
Yeah. Hey,
but yeah, I mean,
hold on.
like the fight scene between Chuck and Bruce in Return of the Dragon definitely makes it, you know what I'm saying, like at least compare worthy, you know what I'm saying? Murder? This nigga dipped on me.
Shit is crazy, dude. Yeah. Not bad, nigga.
Oh, man, this nigga just fucking dipped.
So yeah, Enter the Dragon over Return.
Right. But you know what I'm saying? What I was saying was the thing about Return of the Dragon is that final fight scene between this nigga Bruce and Chuck definitely makes it like compare worthy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. I like the whole when they had Bolo out there with all the other niggas in their gear.
Right.
That shit was like iconic moment for me right there. For Bruce.
Oh man, but you know what I mean? Like when he fucks up fucking O'Hara.
Yeah.
That, you know what I mean, was whew. Starting right from the this is the shit about Bruce. You know what I'm saying? Like the truth of the matter is, you know what I'm saying. Not only was he a great fighter in that sense, but there was just like like he like you know what I'm saying. As this nigga Skillsy would say, this nigga was dripping with swagoo.
Swagoo.
You know what I mean? Like, and so when when they fucking come up against each other, for one, even before that, you know what I mean? Let's go from where the scene begins, which is, this nigga Bruce is practicing in the room. This nigga O'Hara opens his door and says, "You must attend the daily ritual dressed in uniform." And with the kick that he's throwing in the air, and he does a whole 180 to face that nigga, and looks at him. He just goes outside, and fucking that nigga has to leave. All right, so that's the beginning of Bruce's badassery. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Gets to the morning exercise, and one of the dudes goes, "Mr. Lee, why you know in uniform?" And all Bruce does is give dude a look, and the dude just kind of like backs away. Oh shit, you know what I mean? Whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then Bruce is called to fight O'Hara, and they're facing each other. Now, mind you, this nigga Bruce already knows that this is the dude that killed his sister, so he's already fucking like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, so he tells him, this nigga fucking O'Hara puts up a board and breaks it and shit, like trying to impress this nigga. And Bruce looks him dead in the face. He goes, "Boards don't hit back." Like fuck you, bro.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And then proceeds to give him what could have been described as the ultimate ass beating. You know what I mean? Like it was so complete and total domination of a person that this nigga no matter like, was so pissed off about it that he did shit that, you know what I'm saying? This nigga grabbed beer bottles, fucking
it drove him to cheat. So I'm cheating.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like I can't take the ass beating that I've just taken, you know what I mean?
That shit is funny as fuck, man.
And then so now behind the scenes, the dude that plays O'Hara, who is also in Return of the Dragon,
Yeah.
kind of mouthed off to this nigga.
After Bruce?
Right. During the fucking filming. So that one kick where you see him kick him so hard that he falls into everybody else.
Yeah.
He really kicked him.
Damn.
And kicked him so hard that one of the niggas who was behind him trying to catch him broke his arm.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Nigga Bruce crazy.
Yeah, well, you don't fuck with Bruce. You know what I'm saying? Like, who would have been that stupid kid? You know what I mean? To fuck with Bruce like that.
To fuck with Bruce, I think Jet Li would have held his own.
You think so?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. You know what I mean? And what Bruce did was open niggas' minds to this concept is that, you know what I'm saying? Like when you stick to one style of fighting, it closes your mind to other possibilities. You know what I'm saying? So it handicaps you in a way when you're going out to fight. Bruce, you know what I'm saying? When he created Jeet Kune Do, was creating it for the everyday fight.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't meant to be this thing where, you know, like karate, they'll this strike is a point and you get a point for this and you get no, because people don't fight like that in real life. You know what I'm saying? There's no rules to it. You know what I'm saying? So you have to develop a fighting style that you could use against anybody.
Yeah, it's more like versatile.
Right. So because of this, I give Bruce the competitive edge against anybody just because he's going to do whatever it takes to win, whereas the other person might be inclined to stick to what they've learned with their style.
Yeah.
A jiu-jitsu nigga will try to do jiu-jitsu shit. A fucking karate dude will try to do karate shit. You know what I mean? It's just their nature. whereas he can conform to whatever they're gonna do and adapt to it and then react to it.
All right.
So with that, Bruce.
Bruce all day. I never doubted it, you know what I mean? Never doubted it.
You see, actually, I do not teach, karate because I do not believe in styles anymore. I mean, I do not believe that there is such thing as like Chinese way of fighting or the Japanese way of fighting or whatever way of fighting, because unless human beings have 3 arms and 4 legs, we will have a different form of fighting. But basically, we have only 2 hands and 2 feet. So styles tends to not only separate man, because they have their own doctrines, and then the doctrine became the gospel truth, that you cannot change, But if you do not have styles, if you just say, well, here I am, as a human being, how can I express myself totally and completely? Now, that way, you won't create a style, because style is a crystallization, I mean, that way, it's a process of continuing growth.
Oh,
the Dragon, that's what it was called.
Birth of the Dragon.
In Birth of the Dragon, he had, which was a true story as well, is that the reason why he came to America is because he had gotten into a fight with the son of a triad boss.
Damn.
And broke his leg.
That nigga Bruce.
And his father had made an agreement with the triads that he would go to America, and as long as he went to America, they wouldn't fuck with him and he wouldn't fuck with them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, he started becoming bigger and, having all his schools, and then he became like an actor. So at some point, somebody had it in for him.
Okay. I mean, it definitely makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
More than but his son shit had nothing to do with none, right?
I mean, at the same time, like, they say that because the shit was that he got shot with a blank.
Yeah.
The way that they normally do it was that, it wasn't followed, so that this actual blank actually killed him.
Damn.
So they say that, the theory is that the triad still rigged the gun and fucking, had him killed.
That's crazy.
Never forget, you know what I mean? Like,
never forget. Killed the man, then years later, killed his son.
Yeah. What was interesting? Okay, so what was interesting about the Dragon of Bruce Lee stories take on was when he went to go see his master, right?
Yeah.
After his father had died.
Okay.
His master had told him, you know what I'm saying? Like, had told him that. He's like, your father had his inner demons, and if you don't face your inner demons, then you're destined to pass them off to your children, which is what your father did. And you know what I'm saying? If you don't fucking tame your demons, they will attack him too. You know what I'm saying? Your son too.
Yeah.
And when you're at your zenith, that's when, you know what I'm saying, it'll come for you.
Like a 20-inch zenith?
Like a 27-inch zenith, believe it.
But yeah, you know what I'm saying? So when you're at the height of your grandeur, that's when the demon is going to come for you.
Yeah.
Now, when you think about it, you know what I mean? He died right when he fucking finished Enter the Dragon, which made him the biggest star in the world.
Yeah.
This nigga died when he made The Crow, which would have made him the fucking one of the biggest niggas in the world if he had lived long enough to see the fruits of that company. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's interesting when you think about it that way. You know what I mean?
Nah, definitely, nigga. That was his coming out movie, right?
Yeah, really. That was what's gonna make him more mainstream for sure.
It's crazy how they finished the movie without him. It was like how do you do that? CGI?
It's just fucking stunt doubles, you know what I'm saying? Weird camera angles and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. It's dope though, how they do it.
I mean, yeah, you know what I mean? And now that shit is even way more sophisticated than it was, years ago, kid. So, like, I'm sure to a certain extent, like, you can make a movie with Bruce Lee in it.
Yeah.
And it'd be totally CGI Bruce Lee, but you know what I mean? It'll look just like that nigga, you know what I mean?
That'd be dope.
It kind of would be.
They need to do that.
For real. So in the in the battle that went, you know what I'm saying, way left when we started it, I'd say Enter the Dragon still wins. Also, you know what I'm saying, there's shit in Enter the Dragon, you know what I'm saying, while we're still fucking really comparing the two movies that we should have been. There's shit in Enter the Dragon that make it great, you know what I mean? Like when Mr. Williams was, you know what I'm saying, showing how he got to the island, and they, flash back to him, teaching his karate class, and then him, you know what I'm saying, like giving some niggas some fucking dap, and then start walking out and walking through an alley, and some fucking racist ass cops fucking, try to stop him. And not only does he beat the shit out of the racist ass cops, but he takes their fucking police cruiser, and that's how he gets to the boat docks to take his fucking boat. So, you know what I mean? Like, that's
savage.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
It is defeat that you must learn to prepare for.
I don't waste my time with it. When it comes, I won't even notice.
Oh, how so?
I'll be too busy looking good.
What were you looking for when you attacked my guards?
Wasn't me.
You were the only man outside the palace.
I was outside, but I wasn't the only one.
You will tell me who else.
Mr. Han, suddenly I like to leave your island.
It is not possible.
Bullshit, Mr. Handman. Man, you come right out of a comic book.
You win.
But what was you talking about? Corruption? I don't know with that voice. Like I was like it was a TV show. Like
back to this corruption.
Sex, drugs, and tape.
What was that talking
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. What
was that saying?
We were talking about the damn
the Sprint takeover.
Yeah, right. So fucking what's crazy is the government has bailed out mad fucking companies. You know what I'm saying? JP Morgan Chase was one of them, kid. Now, if I was the government, you know what I'm saying? And plus, like the fucking airlines, they fucking bailed out all that shit.
All those banks.
What's crazy to me is my first shit. All right, you need me to bail you out? All right, look, the first term that I put into this fucking loan that I'm giving you is all that outsourcing, to hell with it. You need to fucking do everything here in America if America is going to bail you out. You know what I
They're
mean?
going to shoot you some bullshit line like this, boy. Hey, man, look, if we don't do this, then there is no America, boy. How do you fuck think that America is doing what America's doing, man? We got to do this. This is what we do, boy. Now, we're going to tell them that we're not doing this, okay? Don't you tell nobody that we are doing this, because I will whoop your ass, boy, and you will not make it. And then when you tell people, they're not going to believe you, boy.
That's some fucking shit, bro. Like, what? How you fucking?
I don't know if they talk with that.
How you could get fucking bailed out because you fucking lost money being a shitty business person, ultimately, and then still be like, all right, I'm gonna take your fucking the government's money, and then still I'm gonna fucking not hire people in the United States. I'm gonna fucking send my business still overseas.
Yeah, because
just because I want to fucking pay you 2 cents an hour for fucking working the same shit that I got to pay $14 or $15 an hour to an American.
That's your fucking answer.
I don't know why they do it, but I'd be like, damn, kid. I'd be fucking damned if I was the government if that was going to happen to my wife. Like, no, bitch.
See, what pisses me off is that when I hear minorities talk about how hard when I hear minorities talk about finding jobs here in America, I feel differently about how I hear white people talk about they can't find jobs because of that. Because that shit really affects us. It's shitty jobs. You can get shitty jobs all day.
Yeah.
Oh, you can get a shitty job today. A bitch will hire you on the spot right now because a bitch just quit.
This is shitty walk. Thank you for calling Shitty Walk. A Shitty Walk.
Shitty Walk.
We buy the shitty chicken.
But oh man, America is a conundrum.
Yeah, it is wild shit.
And what fucks me up the most about myself is that where else am I going to live? I need to do some research, but do I want to live anywhere else? I don't know. Because people talk great about Canada, but I heard this chick named Catherine Ryan, she's a comedian, she's from Canada. She was like, the arrogance that Americans have to think that you're just gonna come to our country. You don't want Mexicans just coming to yours, but you think you're just gonna come to Canada. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't have any kind of laws or nothing. Like, bitch, no, y'all stay where y'all at. Fuck that. You created that shit. Stay there.
What's funny is that there's a lot of people, especially comedians, that say that around the world they'll say that they.
How many is that, motherfucker?
I don't know why.
What you mean? I don't know why.
I mean, I don't know.
Pay attention.
Why?
Because you. Keep talking.
Was I talking?
Yep. Because you started talking. I was talking, and then you were getting ready to say something, and then I told you, I asked you about how many shots is that.
Shit.
Nigga, what is that? 31?
This is 12. You know what I mean?
You know what that just made me think of? I'm sorry, I'm taking this shit somewhere else. Mr. President, give us back one team. You don't know what I'm talking about?
Nah.
I said Louis C.K. He was saying that him and his daughters were listening to NPR, and they were talking about 9/11 deniers. And one of his daughters was like, 9/11 deniers. And he was like, yeah, like 9/11, September 11th. And she was like, oh, I thought they were saying they were 9/11 deniers. And he stopped and he paused and he was like, yeah, she thought it was 9 people that weren't buying this 11 bullshit.
We always listen to NPR because we're better than you. And so we're listening to NPR at breakfast the other morning, and there's this one story where they kept using this phrase. They kept saying 9/11 deniers. They kept saying that. 9/11 deniers. And my daughter was like, what is that? And I said, well, it's a group of people that think September 11th was a conspiracy. And she said, oh, I thought they were saying 9/11 deniers. Yeah, she thought they meant 9 people who just ain't buying this 11 bullshit. It's a small fringe group, really. There's only 9 of them. But they still got on NPR, they got on the radio because they're dedicated. They protest every day. They're the 9/11 deniers. They're outside of the White House. It goes 10, 12, 13. And me and my 8 friends know it.
Kids are idiots.
But anyway, like, you
fucking
can't blame her at the
geniuses.
same time.
Because you thought this, because you could easily think the same shit, but that's cool. She was like, wait, what?
Guys, you fell asleep over there?
No, I'm still here.
How you feeling over there?
Oh, but that feedback is terrible.
You getting feedback?
Yeah.
It's getting late anyway.
Yeah. We're going to wrap it up. I know, right? Let me get 2 chalupas.
Shut up.
Yo. This is Brock Brolick for fucking Baz Bunny and William H. Ray. 730 Podcast.
Interesting that we don't, in our world, and haven't since the days of the Greeks who did, combine philosophy and art with sport. But quite clearly, the Oriental attitude is that the three are facets of the same things.
Man, listen, you see, really, to me, okay, to me, ultimately, martial art means honestly expressing yourself. Now, it is very difficult to do. I mean, it is easy for me to put on a show and be cocky and be flooded with a cocky feeling and then feel like pretty cool and all that. Or I can make all kinds of phony things, you see what I mean? Blinded by it. Or I can show you some really fancy movement. But to express oneself honestly, not lying to oneself, and to express myself honestly, now that, my friend, is very hard to do. And you have to train. You have to keep your reflexes so that when you want it, it's there. When you want to move, you're moving. And when you move, you are determined to move. Not taking 1 inch, not anything less than that. If I want to punch, I'm gonna do it, man.